Superman is probably the most recognizable and popular superhero of all time. He's like the mascot for superheroes, the poster child for superheroes. Even the most casual or even non superhero fan knows who Superman is or can recognize him. I think the only two superheroes that even come remotely close to him are Batman and Spider Man. And even then, I still think Superman still holds out above both of them. So it only makes sense for other people to try and recreate that magic. Although none of his copycats are nearly as popular as he is. But anyways, let's get into it. And before we get started, I'm going to say this now. I'm not ranking them. I am simply listing them. And this is just part one. And there will be a part two later. There's like just 25 of these fuckers, and I'm just not going to talk about all of them. Excuse my language. But anyways, let's get into it. Actually, wait, one more thing. I forgot. Honorable mention. Brandon Briers, aka Brightburn. The only reason he's not on this list or in the second list is because I kind of just forgot about him. And he wasn't on a list when I Googled this. So, yeah, but he is a copycat of Superman as well. So, firstly, John Hancock. I just recently did a video with this guy. So, Hancock is a member of an ancient immortal race that were worshipped as gods 3,000 years ago. But after being diagnosed with amnesia following a head injury and his wife leaving him so he could, keep his powers and not die, he lost all memory of his former life and became an alcoholic. He tried using his powers for good, but usually messed up a lot. But now, I think he's got his shit together. He has all the same powers as Superman. He easily tossed a full-grown gray whale hundreds of meters away, stopped a freight train dead in its tracks by just bracing himself, and his fight with Mary Embry partially leveled a large city as they destroyed several buildings and whatnot. He's basically invulnerable as he's bullet and fireproof, and even an RPG couldn't harm him. He also withstood hits from Mary, which including being hit by buses and being sent flying through buildings. He also has an accelerated healing factor. He can fly at immense speeds, as he flew all the way to the moon, carved a massive heart on it, and came back before anyone had noticed he had left. He can also control the weather to some degree, as he can summon high winds and even tornadoes for ranged attacks as well. That is John Hancock. Next, we have Homelander. He is the most powerful man in the world and the true all-American hero who loves baseball. Not really that second part. In the comics, he was said to have been an alien that crash-landed on Earth as a baby. But in reality, he was just a normal dude who spent his childhood in a lab where they experimented on him with Compound V. It was all a marketing thing for Vought. In the comics, he decapitated Queen Maeve with one punch, was so tough to the point Queen Maeve's sword broke after connecting with his head, leaving him unharmed, and he was so fast that he's faster than A-Train. He can fly, has heat vision that slices right through people and an airplane, and has a sonic scream as well. In the show, he casually crushed skulls and overpowered Soldier Boy, has taken everything the military has thrown at him, which would include nuclear bombs. And again, he's faster than A-Train, as he saved Billy Butcher from a point-blank C4 explosion, meaning he would have to be moving at about Mach 11 speeds. He's also a sociopathic and probably psychotic as well, so that's pretty cool, I guess. Omnman. Viltrumites in general are basically knockoffs of Kryptonians, and the one that is most compared to Superman is Omni-Man. Viltrumites were trained warriors set on conquering the universe one planet at a time. Omni-Man was sent to Earth. He single-handedly killed the Guardians of the Globe, the most powerful superhero team on the planet, and they were like direct copycats of the Justice League. He also killed kaiju monsters, stopped meteors the size of Texas, destroyed an entire civilization by basically just flying through everything. Absolutely wrecked Invincible. even cracking a mountain with the force of one of his punches, and just sending him across the entire country with his punches. Fight against silver Viltrumites at once, fight against Thrag, and even destroyed a planet by flying through it with two others who are similarly as strong as he is. House-busting explosions and barrage of blasts of fire don't even scratch him. He's taken hits from Invincible, Thrag, and Enraged Immortal, as well as massive kaijus and whatnot. And he was so fast that he could perceive and react to Red Rush, and easily move at several Mach speed. And in the comics, he definitely surpassed light speed. Viltrumites naturally get stronger as they age, and the older they get, the slower they age. Nolan is also just very brutal and savage while in combat. He is a true brutal, savage warrior, just like most of the other Viltrumites out there. Plutonian. Once the world's most trusted and famous superhero, the symbol of hope and heroism, the Plutonian suddenly went on a rampage, leaving a path of devastation and destruction, causing the world to go into a mass panic. He hunted down and killed his old team, the Paradigm, and then set his rage loose on the world. Why? Because after decades of being a superhero, he felt mankind was ungrateful for everything he had done for them. He was strong enough to destroy Singapore by throwing chunks of a meteor at it. And then just pushed it beneath the ocean. Fighting against Carrie and Orion, broke a plate boundary, and he temporarily carried something as dense as a neutron star. He took a blast from Carrie that knocked him across the city, tanked an explosion that destroyed a volcano, survived being in the sun and in a black hole, and took hits that were powered by stars. He's reacted in picoseconds, destroyed a satellite before a signal could reach it, and he could travel the world in mere moments. He could fly and project heat vision and as well as an ice breath. He could also do other things too, like see through time, turn intangible, see people's memories, change probability, and even reverse entropy as well. Sun God. Zoran, also known as Sun God, and 5 other heroes came together and formed the Great Society, the greatest superhero team, and the Earth's greatest protectors. And Sun God has all the typical powers that Superman has. He was strong enough to fight against an enraged Hulk and even stop one of Hulk's punches. He withstood a beating from an enraged Hulk, and he's fast enough to perceive the team's speech through Boundless pretty easily. His heat vision was so powerful that it turned Hulk back into Bruce Banner. He could also create a big energy ball of solar power and even release a solar flare that completely destroyed the newly adapted map makers as well. He hasn't made a lot of appearances, but he has all the same powers as Superman basically, so he belongs on this list. Alpha 1. Once a Navy sailor, Alpha 1 was lost at sea and was exposed to radiation-filled waters after a nuclear test in 1952. This made him into the world's first superhero. At least that's what the world thinks. In reality, he's an alien who was exiled from his home planet due to his sociopathy. He protects humanity while secretly kidnapping certain people to give them superpowers. He then plans to use these people to conquer Earth to satisfy his god complex. He's strong enough to easily stop a speeding train, lift a massive iceberg, punch someone through a mountain, and he sank the Titanic pretty easily. He's unaffected by lightning bolts and raging flames, and he withstood several blows from Gabriel after he had gained Alpha 1's powers. He's flown around the world in mere moments or less too. His heat vision has just vaporized several people at once too. His one weakness seems to be nitrogen, or at least when there's more nitrogen in the air than oxygen. if that makes sense. Yeah, sure. Icon. Arnis is an alien superhero from the planet Terminus who crash landed in the southern United States during the mid 1800s. After living through 4 generations of slavery under the name of Augustus Freeman, he settled in Dakota City as a respected lawyer and superhero known as Icon, fighting villains and crime as well as racism and discrimination. He's strong enough to throw down with Superman, sending him flying through multiple buildings and nearly knocking him out. That right there tells you just how powerful he is. He's tanked massive explosions and as well as taken several hits from Superman. He can regenerate from any injury, and he can react and fly beyond supersonic speeds. He can also generate and control radiant energy based on the positions for based on positrons for various effects such as energy blast, enhancing his punches, and he can release an energy pulse, a massive omnidirectional blast of devastating power. Icarus. Whether you're talking about the MCU or the comics, Icarus is simply the Superman of the Eternals, a superhero team created by Celestials. He's strong enough to fight against Cosmic Hulk, Thor, Hyperion. He made Red Hulk bleed and even tore through Celestial's armor, which is quite insane. He's taken hits from those characters and even tanked a starship explosion. And he claims to be nearly as fast as Makari, the Eternals' speedster. His eye beams hurt Silver Surfer and melted down Ares, the god of war's axe. He apparently also has some other abilities like matter manipulation, teleportation, and telepathy. We didn't see any of that in the MCU, but in comics, he is definitely the most powerful member of the Eternals, at least by a physical point. Shazam. Probably the most well-known Superman copycat, Billy Batson was just a loser teenager in foster care. That was until the Wizard deemed him worthy to be his champion, and he would gain the powers of 6 Greek gods: the wisdom of Solomon, the strength of Hercules, stamina of Atlas, the power of Zeus, courage of Achilles, and the speed of Mercury, giving him the name Shazam. When he says Shazam, he turns into the champion. And when he says Shazam again, he becomes a normal teenager again. He's basically a magical Superman. He was able to fight against Wonder Woman, Black Adam, and Superman all on equal footing in terms of strength and durability. He's faster than lightning bolts, faster than Wonder Woman in terms of travel speed, can easily move far beyond faster than light speed, and he's even ranked as DC's 9th fastest character. He can also project lightning blasts, which have overpowered Black Adam's own lightning, as well as hurt Wonder Woman and Superman too. Namor. Namor the Submariner is the king of Atlantis, as well as a mutant, the first mutant. He has all the same powers as other Atlanteans, but on a much higher level. For a long while there, he, Hulk, and Thor were the 3 main powerhouses in Marvel. He's been able to evenly fight with Hulk and Thor over the decades, as well as make Sentry and Thanos bleed, and he can lift millions of tons easily. He's taken hits from those same characters, endured Human Torch's immense heat and thousands of volts of electricity, and kept on fighting after a huge optic blast from Cyclops. He's very fast and agile, easily dodging barrages of blaster fire, outpace heat-seeking missiles and torpedoes easily, and keep pace with a speeding Black Bolt and Iron Man. His mutant ability are these little pairs of wings on his feet that allow him to fly very fast with a lot of agility and maneuverability. He's a skilled fighter with his trident as well. Speaking of his trident, it's match Mjolnir blow for blow. He can telepathically communicate with all aquatic life, even sea monsters. He can also manipulate water to the point of creating a tidal wave that could cover all of New York. Apollo. He is an ex-military soldier that was genetically engineered by the former weatherman Henry Bendix to be the ultimate weapon. Upon breaking away from Bendix's control, he joined the Authority, where he could bring his own brand of justice to the world. He is like Superman in that he's powered by solar energy, but unlike Clark, when he isn't exposed to sunlight, like it's nighttime or whatever, dude is severely weakened, like to the extreme. He's casually lifted a massive statue, an airplane full of people, flown through a continent-sized spaceship, and he's fought against Captain Atom, Kyle Rayner, Martian Manhunter, Lobo, and even Doomsday. He's been hit so hard that he went flying around the Earth twice, tanks bullets while weakened, and survived at absolute zero despite it being one of his weaknesses. And he's flown from London to Southeast Asia in seconds. His heat vision has created a massive firestorm, incinerated a group of superhumans, and vaporized a warplane. He can also project kinetic blasts from his hands as well. And the last one for part 1 is Superior. Simon Pooney was a man who was stricken with multiple sclerosis. He idolized and desired to be just like Superior, a comic book superhero. Luckily for him, a strange alien monkey named Orman, who is actually a demon looking for a soul, granted his wish, and Simon became the superhero known as Superior. He's easily pulled a massive submarine, lifted a giant satellite, bench pressed a battleship, stopped a meteor shower and an earthquake, fought against and beat Abraxas, who was just as strong as him, and destroyed Annihilator by flying into it. And while he can't be hurt, he virtually can't be killed as long as he's under Earth's yellow sun. This is why Orman couldn't take his soul due to his immortal body. He's tanked a lightning strike, withstood a beating from Abraxas and Annihilator, even his giant cannon, and he survived being buried in a volcano. He's intercepted lightning and has flown from the ground to space in seconds. He also has heat vision and a super breath too, because why not? And that is my list for part 1. I tried to go back and forth between like more commonly known copycats of Superman to least known popular ones, at least from my point. Some of them I've never even heard of, like Sun God and Alpha 1. Never even heard of them. But so I tried to just mix it up that way. But don't worry, there's a lot of Superman copycats I didn't talk about. They'll be in part 2 for sure. Like and subscribe if you did enjoy. Leave a comment of what you thought and hit the notification bell to be notified of all my future videos and all the great stuff. I truly do appreciate it, and I hope you guys have a great day. Peace!